Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. Just an update for you. We have passed the 4 million mark right now. These numbers from the UN right now, we're almost at 4.2 million refugees that have been forced from their homes in Ukraine to surrounding countries around Ukraine and around the world. But take a look to the western part of that map. Poland, by far, welcoming in the highest number of refugees, 2.3 million. The mayor of Warsaw, the capital of Poland, says that they are not on the streets. The people of Poland have welcomed refugees into their homes. Just an unbelievable sign of human civility and welcoming their neighbors. There is so much shared history between those two countries. It's just amazing to see that. More on that coming up in just a little bit. Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. The Russian military is claiming that they are drastically reducing military activity around the capital city of Kyiv as peace talks in Turkey enter day number 2. For more, let's welcome back Ukrainian Member of Parliament Kira Rudik. Kira, good morning. Great to have you back on.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Kira, I want to play you a soundbite from the Russian defense minister yesterday. He claims that the goal was never to take the capital city of Kyiv. Take a listen.
Overall, the main tasks of the first stage of the operation have been completed. The combat potential of the Ukrainian armed forces has been significantly reduced, which makes it possible to focus the main attention and main efforts on achieving the main goal, the liberation of Donbas.
Donbas, of course, that region in the eastern part of Ukraine. Do you believe him? What do you make of that? Is that more propaganda or is there more to that?
Well, he lies as he breathes. That's what I can tell you. As a person who just came back from checking on the outskirts of the city, half of the outskirts are destroyed right now, and another half is occupied by Russians who actually are building their defense stations there, and who definitely wouldn't go back, wouldn't flee, and they will try to surround the city and they will try to create a siege here. I can tell you after yesterday's peaceful negotiations where Russians claimed that they will pull back from Kyiv and Chernihiv, this was the hardest night since the beginning of the war, the hardest. I barely even slept because the shelling was so intensive that the sirens didn't actually went off. So when Russians say we want peace, this means you hold on to your Kalashnikov and march forward, because we definitely will try to regroup and hit you when it hurts. So from what we see in their actions, they are regrouping instead of actually pulling back.
So that's what you think is happening, and that's the Ukrainian position, is that the Russian army is retreating right now so they can regroup and then maybe attack again and try to take the capital city. From my point of view, in the West, it seems like taking Kyiv, for all the reasons symbolically, would be the goal of Vladimir Putin. That would be the #1 goal, to take Kyiv and take your president out.
Well, it's not the Ukrainian point of view. This is like facts that are here on the ground. They said that they will limit their presence here and like whatever, they want peace. And right after that, that was what the most intensive shelling since the beginning of the war.
Wow.
And I'm as a person located here, I can tell you, this becomes like really scary because it's going on the ground up right now and not scaling down.
So it's getting worse? It's getting worse? These reports aren't accurate? It's getting worse in Kyiv?
Yes. Tonight was much worse in Kyiv.
How close to, say, Maidan Square?
I think the rocket that was hit was like 15-minute drive from Maidan Square. But again, we are talking about the shelling. We are not talking about the troops on the ground.
Right,
the troops on the ground, we are fighting well. This is what we learned to do very well. But what we are talking right now is, again, the shelling of the city.
Is the Russian army, check that, are American troops training Ukrainian troops?
At some points, yes. But it's, again, limited amount of troops that can be trained right now because everybody is on the fire line and everybody is trying to use this time that we have to push them back as far as possible.
Do you expect anything to happen in Turkey? Are these peace talks for real, or is this just a sham?
I expect that we will at least be able to get our humanitarian convoys out. This is the most important. For the rest, I don't believe that that talks will lead anywhere until there is a way to make Putin fulfill on his promises. Right now, I don't see this way. Otherwise, with having world leaders involved, making sure that there are security guarantees that will allow us to actually kind of trust Putin, or at least have him responsible.
We hope so too. Kira Rudik, thanks so much for coming back on with us. We appreciate it. Stay safe. I hope your family is doing well and is safe as well. Thank you. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.